now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Developer of the multi-billion-dollar Baha Mar Resort slamming government for the recent move placing the ownership of the company into the hands of the China Exim Bank. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
And I'm Chris Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. In a detailed statement today, the embattled leader placed the blame at government's feet, even suggesting a hidden agenda on the Bahamas government part. It comes as the Prime Minister pledges to move forward with the resort, ensuring construction is completed, Bahamians re-employed, and the Bahamian Riviera open. But according to the developer, he's convinced none of these goals can be achieved under this new agreement. Our Clint Watson is live in the studio with the latest on this. Clint, this is a very damning piece of release from Sarkis today.
You said it, Chris. At the least, we can call it that. It could easily be described as his most scathing remarks during the Baha Mar issue. Principal of Baha Mar, Sarkis Israelian, unleashed the latest war of words, lambasting the government, going as far as to call the latest move of receivership as a calculated political move.
Chief Executive Officer of BMD Holdings, the developer of the Baha Mar Resort, Sarkis Israelian, says the appointment of a receiver by the Export-Import Bank of China continues the unfortunate pattern of disastrous actions he says is now destroying any hope that Baha Mar, as originally conceived for the Bahamas, can become a reality. Israelian says, in his view, China Construction America failed to meet its promises to complete the resort on the timetables it set and failed to meet its financial obligations to Baha Mar and engaged in reckless and self-serving actions at the expense of the project. Israelian pointed out the same action is now happening at the Point development in Nassau. Israelian also criticizes the government for what he summed up as failing to meet its promises to Baha Mar, including making timely payments of monies it was obligated to pay Baha Mar. Israelian says the result was a liquidity crunch last June that put Baha Mar at risk. He continued in a statement that to mitigate that risk, the board of Baha Mar determined that the proper and only true viable course was for Baha Mar to voluntarily file for Chapter 11 under U.S. law. Israelian maintains that under Chapter 11, Baha Mar's assets would have been protected and that they would have had the opportunity in a prudent manner to resolve the issues between the parties. The CEO claims his company put forward a plan to pay all valid Bahamian claims in full. They were able to continue to pay the salaries of the more than 2,000 Baha Mar employees, and any downsized employees would have received severance, which he's adamant that they will not now receive. Israelian asserts the government of the Bahamas, in concert with China Construction America and China Export-Import Bank, undertook a campaign that resulted in the Chapter 11 being dismissed. He says the effect of this effort by the government of the Bahamas, China Construction America, and the China Export-Import Bank now leaves Baha Mar in the position where the China Export-Import Bank is now the owner of Baha Mar. Most of its employees have been laid off, widespread collateral damage to hundreds of businesses, and assets are being further impaired. Sarkis Israelian claims that even under these circumstances, he has continued to try to make proposals to achieve a consensual resolution of the issues that would enable Baha Mar to be properly completed and to open. Unfortunately, he says the other stakeholders remain more focused on legal and political maneuvers than solutions. In his view, neither China Export-Import Bank appointing a receiver nor winding up liquidation of Baha Mar serve the best interests of any party, and certainly not those of the people of the Bahamas. He concludes that while we want to see a beautiful resort open, the goal is also a thriving Bahamas.
And Chris, Charisma, if you thought this saga was over, well, you can guess again. It's far from being over. We do expect to hear from the government. They are reviewing this statement, and sometime later this week, we expect to have a response on their behalf. Live in the newsroom, I'm Clint Watson. Back to you guys.